Hello, everybody. This Hangout on Air is live. It is Hump Day Wednesday, September 13th, 2017. Welcome back to the workshop today. And hopefully this will finish off the Pioneer TX-700 tuner circa 1970. We began this restoration on August 30th, just a couple days after my surgery. Well, I'm all fully recovered now, and I'm back in the shop. I would like to kind of finish this up because I have bigger fish to fry in terms of things I need to do in the workshop. You know, tuners aren't really my thing, although Pioneer certainly built some tremendous tuners. And I think in terms of Japanese engineering, I'll always say that Sony led the pack on tuner development in terms of signal acquisition. They are tremendous. They have multi-gang variable capacitors, which I'll show you what they are, but the more the merrier on them. And they just, even without an antenna, their signal acquisition was absolutely amazing. And with an antenna, it was incredible, the FM signals that you could pick up. So even my 1959 Pioneer SMQ300B that I did the restoration, you saw that. We had the vintage audio listening experience here. That thing was tremendous in 1959. The Pioneer detection circuits were amazing on that. And the quality of build is phenomenal. Well, last time we were on the Hangout back in on August 30th, we were able to get power to the unit. We were able to get sound. We had some issues with the tuner in terms of running the pointer dial up and down. We had I don't know, I guess, you know, the initial lubrication wears out on these units, and after a while, a lubricant turns into a point of friction. It gets all gummed up, and it wasn't able to move up and down the aisle. I think we've got that set up. I think we've got that fixed pretty good now, where I don't think that that's going to be an issue anymore. I did some lubrication on that, so I think that that is going to be okay right now. Good morning to those of you who are joining in the workshop today. I just got back from taking Jen for her annual eye doctor checkup, and she's all good. Actually, her vision's better this year than last year. Go figure. So I'm really happy about that. But need to get this unit finished. Like I said last week, as we'll try to demonstrate with the unit. Hey, Keith. No, I'm not rubbing it in with the Keith's like, are you rubbing it in with the Sooner shirt? No, if you send me an Ohio State, I'll be happy to wear that. And no, Juice did not send me this this unit. So we'll stick it on and see, turn this on and see where we stand. Right now, we have no lighting at all. So it's the type of situation where we have no idea.
Employers hiring. Free up.
I don't even have an antenna really hooked up.
Steady afternoon.
You can hear it running well.
That's for exceptional rockers and wines. Ice cold and coffee IPA. Bud Light, Coda Longboard Shop, Top Belgian White, Girl, and Water. All proceeds from beverage sales benefit Sadie, Haven Horse Rescue, and Sanctuary. Go to mbshops.com
I'm sure
for
we're not
details.
getting anything
It's
out of that side. I got this
Sunday,
dangerous little amplifier here.
next to Cattleman's. Premier shopping, rockin' savings, and free
That's a little
concerts
short
at
on
the
that.
Village.
I'm very happy with the
I
Hi, it's Mike Adams from Mattress Firm, and Mattress Firm's semi-annual sale going on right now, and that means your favorite mattresses.
I'm really happy with the channel separation. I'm very happy with the
an additional
stereo
10% off. Get a Buterest,
acquisition ability of it, and it's picking up a lot of stations. Work good on AM. We just have no lighting. We have no ability to really see what's going on with the unit. Real good clean sound. It's running a little 1 watt. Too much distortion. So it's actually it's performing well now. The tuner's working good, going up and down. You hear how clean that is. Beautiful.
I think make a woman go mad. So be wise and be bold. When I get lonely, aquí tenemos el máximo calor.
I don't have the best amplifier. I'm using a 1959 Archer True Test, which is a little 1 watt unit. It's sounding pretty good. Clean.
It was the main theme from the movie The Chorus.
So what do you think out there?
Bruno Coulet, performed there by Orchestre Chanteur de Saint-Marc and the Bulgarian Symphony Orchestra of the region.
Bulgarian Symphony Orchestra, baby. Now we can run over to AM. See if we get on that. I don't have an antenna.
American Vision Windows.
Show and to the people who need it most. You can call them at Food for the Poor at 844-868-4673. That's 844-868-4673. Food for the Poor.
That's our local KSRO, local station. Other than that, I don't really have an antenna, but I guess we could see. Let's try flipping this thing on. I guess I'm one of the last people in the world that listens to AM radio. Let's try this out. I don't even think I listened to it last time.
Going to be there and be deported.
We wonder if one of our relatives or friends is going to be there too when we come home, because MS-13's crawling all over. Up in Chicago.
All right, well, there's not really a lot on that that I'm able to pick up. I probably need to get a little bit of a better antenna. But let's kill the power now. And one of the issues we have is not having lighting for the unit at all. When I go to, pardon the camera here, I'm switching it around. When I go to click it on, I'm just not getting any lighting in the unit at all. So it makes me think that our lighting circuit has bit the dust somehow here, so we need to check it. I'm gonna turn it off. I like to do my work with the power off, of course, to prevent short circuits and stuff like that. So let me sit the camera down here, and let's get that turned over here. Let's get the unit turned upside down. Let's turn our amplifier off, the Widowmaker. Let's turn off our power there. Let's turn this on to give ourselves a little bit of extra light. Now, one of the interesting things about these units is that these, a lot of the well-built tuners and stuff, if you look at the underside of the guts, few consumers are ever going to be tinkering in these particular areas in here. But you have all your tone control boards, you have your filter boards, your intermediate frequency boards, you have your power boards. This is just a tuner. This is not even an amplifier. This is just a tuner. This whole board, this whole unit's function is just to acquire signal through the air and is best and clean it up and put through the cleanest sound that it can possibly put through. This is the variable capacitor here, a double ganglion, which is the hallmark usually of very good quality. Sometimes Sony has triple and quadruple for excellent signal acquisition. So you're looking at something that few consumers, they may take the cover off of the top of it, but what they usually never do is they won't take the bottoms off. And obviously to them, it's a maze of a mess down here. But you'll see down here that you have what's called fused protection. And here you have a fuse here, you have one here, you have a fuse over here, you have a fuse here, and you have a fuse right here. Now the question is, why do you have so many fuses? Well, each one of these individual circuit boards here is protected by a fuse. So if something actually shorts out or a component shorts out, it won't take the whole unit out with it. These are expensive units. These were several $100s back in 1970, which was a lot of money. So they took time to really build in superior protection. So what I suspect is that we've lost one of these fuses back here for the lighting circuit. Now, the way I can sort of tell which one it is without playing a lot of different games, and I'm not going to pretend I haven't already gone ahead and detected which circuit is, but if you look here at the lighting circuit, you'll see the wiring isn't done by accident here. A lot of people think it's just willy-nilly. They look in here, they see orange, they see blue, they see yellow, they see red. It's not a question of just using whatever wiring you have at hand. All this wiring is it's dedicated. It's almost like a code for people that build, for companies that build this, so that they understand, like the red is for power. The red is for power circuits, and the green is often a return to ground here, and the yellow. Each one of these has a particular function within most high fidelity, most radio equipment, and I think this goes all the way back to the late 1920s to 1930s when they started color coding with braided wire. But anyway, if you look down here in the lighting circuit, what do you see? You see a lot of blue wiring running around here. So that's your first indication that the blue, it all is wired in series. In other words, it's like a Christmas tree. If one goes out, they all tend to go out on here. And because it's wired in series, if something blows out within the string, then the whole string is going to go down. So it makes sense that we don't have any lighting. But you'll notice that all the lighting circuit is on the blue wiring there, with the black, and I guess the blue is return to close the circuit and things. But it's all the blue and the black here. So you turn it over, you flip it over to the back side, and you see that, oh, well, the blue, and I don't even have the schematic with me, but you see right here that the only place that the blue wiring is running to is right here. on this particular fuse. You have a blue wire leading in on one side, and you have the blue coming out the other side. So it kind of tells me that the issue is probably this particular fuse right here. Hi, Josh. Welcome aboard. And in looking inside, it's very difficult to look in there and see. It has a very fine filament in there. It's very difficult to see if that's the one or not. So I often buy out from shops that are going out of business. I buy out tremendous quantities of original stock parts and stuff, as you can see in the box. And this came from a shop in Cambridge, Maryland that was closing after 75 years. So I bought their whole stock of everything that they had, and that included circuit fuses, and I've got bags upon bags from Wurlitzer, all kinds of manufacturers. I think I paid 150 bucks for everything in a 25-pound box because, well, frankly, there's not many people left that work on this kind of equipment anymore. I mean, everything now is all integrated circuits and stuff like that. So I was lucky to get that, and I'll often purchase, not so much anymore, because I just have reams of cabinet drawers just full of electronic parts and stuff, so it's not so critical for me to get that. So what I want to do is I want to take a look at this, and I'm going to just temporarily jump this circuit first to see if my suspicions are correct. So what I'll do here is take one of my jumpers, and I'll jump it from here, right on here on that side of the circuit. I'll jump it onto the other side of the fuse here, and we'll pop power to it. What we're doing is actually bypassing this fuse here. We will pop power to it. Let's fire up the power here. We don't need the amplifier on. And let's see what we get. Okay, so there we go. See, we now have lighting within the unit here, so that kind of verifies that the lighting circuit was fuse protected, and something happened to that caused that to blow out. So the next thing we want to do is turn off our power again. We don't want any new shorts, and then we're going to go ahead and set the camera back here. We are going to go ahead. I've got my soldering iron hot. I'm going to go ahead and cut that out of, let me get my wire cutters out here. And I'm going to cut that out of the circuit now. That old one, 6,000 pairs of wire cutters here. This is insane. You wouldn't even know I cleaned the place up, right? I guess I can use these little nippers here. Go ahead and take these, and what I'm going to do is cut that out. This isn't going to cut it. Let me see if I have where's my toolbox down here. I have all these, but I don't know where my little wire cutters are. I got like 6,000 of them. And that's what I get for cleaning up the shop. Before I cleaned up the shop, I could just put my hand on everything. Let me check my toolbox down here. Got my long nose. Okay, here we go. Gonna need them too. All right, there we go. Got my long nose pliers, and I've got my cutters here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this fuse out because obviously it has gone bad. I'm going to save a little of the stub of the wire that it's connected to on the little stand there, so I'll be able to wrap the new around it. And now in looking at it, I can see in the middle of it that the wire has blown the circuit protection little filament went bad. So now I'm going to lay in the new one here, and I'm going to twist that in very carefully around here. And I like to make a good mechanical connection first. I want this to stand off from the board a little bit. Make a good mechanical connection first, and then go in and solder that. So that's what I'm going to do now. And don't criticize my soldering. I'm a good diagnostician. I'm a lousy solderer. Let's go ahead and close that up. I'm going to go ahead and take my soldering iron here. You probably won't be able to see this. I'll try to stick this on this side. I'll be moving this around, so pardon me today. Let's see if we can put that. Yeah, put that right up there. There we go. Take our soldering iron. Let's see if we can lay that out and get that soldered in right there. Take a minute to superheat that joint. That is a big, big joint. There's a lot of things going on right there. I'm getting that nice and hot so that the solder flows on that, which it just did. Want that to flow a little more. All right, and that's one side of it. Should hold that pretty good. Let that cool a second. Looks good. Make sure we have a really good connection in there, which we do. Now I'm going to kind of bend that over just a tad to sit that down within. I don't want it to be up in short circuit on the bottom. Hi, Francis. Oh, man. Funny. Francis says a squirrel caused the high voltage fuse to blow on the primary transformer to my boiler room. A poor squirrel stuck his tail where it don't belong. What a flaming hole. Now it's time to, let's go ahead and wrap and secure the other end of this here. Get that set down. This takes a bit of dexterity, but you want to have a good, strong mechanical connection before you solder. Okay, very critical to have the best connectivity. You don't want any intermediate connection. It's going to flicker and cause the unit to lighting. So that looks good. Now I'm going to go ahead and solder that on, and we should be good to go. Now that sits low enough. I don't have any of the plastic to cover that with. You know, it's like an aquarium hose or something like that, the plastic that sits on top of these. So I'm going to go ahead and get my solder and solder in the other side here. Hey, John Daniel, how are you, my friend? Do the other side. I've enjoyed your Messina 1990 video. All right, I'm going to go ahead and let that get really hot there. I want a really good connection. I got my soldering iron good and hot. Oh boy, if the Japanese in 1970 could only see me now, huh? There we go. I think that is a super good connection right there, and I'll bring you guys down to board level. I'll let that cool a bit. All right, I think that's pretty good. And that's what we did right here was make the connection, just connect the two ends of that, get that situated really well and hooked on very firmly, so that's not going to it's not going to short out in any way. Oh, it's good to see you, John. How's everything in Messina? Hope everything's good. Now let's go ahead and before we button it up, we want to make sure we actually fix the job here. We actually fix what was busted. So let's go ahead. And there we go. We've now got lighting on the unit. So, okay. Now, like I said, I don't have this. I should have it, but I don't. I don't have the plastic that goes over top and protects these fuses from accidental shorts on the bottom. But this one I'm going to situate low enough that it's going to be virtually impossible. If you look across, it's going to be virtually impossible for anything to touch that. The top, even if it's dropped, that's not going to make contact on there. So I'm happy about the positioning of that. I want to lower these other ones a little bit. Just look across and make sure that they're not going to be sticking out for potential shorts. All right. Well, that takes care of our lighting issue at this point in time. So let's go ahead. We've got sound now. We've got the lighting. Maybe not all lighting, but this isn't going to be a a super duper all-in restoration. I just want enough light to be able to tell what's going on, and I want enough sound. I want great sound. That's the important thing. I want great detection in the circuits and all that. So now it's time to, we don't want to leave the bottom exposed, this unit. So I want to replace the bottom of the unit. How in the heck that thing goes on? I guess that's it. That's a weird fit. I think that goes up front there. Let's see if it goes this way. It's got to be the other way, so. No geese, but I tell you what, we do have turkeys, wild turkeys in the neighborhood. They are everywhere this time of year. I mean, everywhere. Let's go ahead. Okay, so we got this. Let's get this positioned. Get this back on. Let's get this screwed on. Got to use the right screws here. Smooth. I'm so glad to get that lighting issue solved. It usually will always come down to a fuse. I did check all the other components down there, and everything looked good. I didn't see any bulgy capacitors with any issues or anything like that, so I'm happy about that. So we got to close this up so nothing sits, you know. I've seen some rebuilders will turn it over and accidentally sit it on top of a pair of pliers, and they shorted out the whole unit, and at that point it's game over. You just toss it in the trash can. All you have is a glorified paperweight. There's no coming back from that kind of catastrophic. That's a call the customer and tell them you mucked up and send them the money for it. So, all right. Hello, Mark Charles. Nice to see you. Oh, boy. Mark Charles Firearms in the house. Nice to see you. So we just got the fuse replaced in the underside circuit here for the lighting. And I'm just returning the, putting the bottom piece back on so we don't have any accidental short circuits or anything here. Hope to make a special film soon in Watertown. A little music lip syncing with me. Need my Sinatra wig. There you go, babe. I've got you under my skin. I dig you. All right, there we go. Got one more screw and then we're done on that. I always feel a lot safer when the bottom of it's all tucked in, and then I don't have to worry about any accidental short circuits on the bottom. So let's turn it over. Make sure we're still getting light. Yeah, good. So Looking across, we have all of our basic lighting on here. There we have our side panel lighting, which is good. I don't know how that's letting. I gotta clean these old fuse lamps on here. I was gonna replace them with LEDs, but the LED is pretty harsh. Yeah, I'm screwing around. I got that on good. Let's turn on the amp, make sure we're still getting signal here. But I'm lucky, all the bulbs are still basically good here. That's the AM. See if this light works for the see if this works for the stereo indicator. I think we're going to need an antenna on that. This has come off, so. Yeah. Okay, so that's working.
It feels good for the first time in a long time now.
All right. Pretty happy about that. All right. So the next thing we got to do is do a little bit of detail cleaning here. There's a couple small lights out, but they're kind of expensive. One of them is, and I can change this over to LED. One of them is the pointer dial. But to remove that, this is like the ultimate pain in the ass in rebuilding. To remove this thing, you have to take the pointer dial off of the string. And then you've got to open this little housing here and remove this teeny tiny bulb and then solder in. You can see how fine the wire is there, and then screw it. So, you know, if it was stereo amplifier and tuner, I would probably do it, but because it's just a tuner, as long as I get some lighting on the dial face, I'm happier. And it also looks like the FM indicator bulb is out too. But again, you're talking about a very teeny tiny bulb that resides within this housing right here. So that's going to be a little tricky. So I'm satisfied with it. So I want to go get I want to grab a few more Q-tips and go ahead and get this back surface area cleaned up here. Okay, so I will be back in a minute. Sit you guys right there, and I'll go in and get a bit of cleaning supplies. Get a little light on the subject here. And how is everybody today? Had a nice conversation with Francis this morning. Sorry, Francis, I had to cut off. I was with Jen at the eye doctor this morning, getting her eyes checked out, and all of a sudden we got called into the doctor's office. So let's go ahead. Let's get a little bit of cleaner and get this. Let's get this front cleaned up on this. Okay. The other thing we have to be careful too is we have the face plate and everything else. If you take a look at this, this is the Pioneer plastic here, the actual plastic bezel that goes in the front. Now, the really terrible thing is sometimes people take these things and they stick them in the washing machine, or they get a really harsh cleaner and they put it on here. And unfortunately, this is all silk screened on here. all the little Pioneer symbol, and all that stuff is silk screened on there. So when you use the harsh cleaners, it just pulls that right off all the lettering, and these are irreplaceable. I mean, this is a piece of plastic, and you can't just go out and get these pieces. Are long gone. This unit is 47 years. No, what is it? 30. Yeah, 47 years old. This unit. So it's not like you're going to be able. Yeah, I should put my Hooters shirt on, huh? So there we go. I'm going to go ahead. We'll do first things first. First thing I need to do is clean this front surfacing. The other problem that we overcame, and I don't think I'm going to need the soldering iron anymore. I'm going to disconnect that. The other problem, I've left that on sometimes for days, talk about dangers. This whole unit could use a good blow job. I mean, I don't have any compressed air. Usually I would hit this with the compressed air here, but I don't have any at the moment. It used to be convenient when Radio Shack was around that you could just run up there and get the stuff you need. You can see on here by 1970 they were actually, because Marantz started this in the late 60s, they were actually making, instead of point-to-point wiring on everything, a service technician would just determine that maybe the power board was bad here and just remove the whole board and replace it, or maybe the tuner circuit board. The discrimination in the intermediate frequency board here had gone bad with all of the cans on it. It was a simple matter just to change out the boards. It made it a lot easier than trying to test individual components. So that's something that I think Marantz pioneered here with their designs in the U.S. and everything. So that's a good thing. So what was I going to tell you? I kind of forgot here. I don't know. But anyway, I've got to get this thing cleaned up here. What was something else I wanted to tell you guys? I can't remember. Something else like, oh yeah, the tuner string here. Remember, this was having all kinds of problems, issues moving along. Everything had seized in the gearworks down here. So I was able to take some electronic lube and get that straightened out. Down there and get that lubricated. I also put a little lubricant you can see on the top here. If I had graphite, I would use that, but I don't. So you can see now that moves real smoothly across the top there now. That didn't move at all before. That was totally frozen. So that issue has been solved too. You can see it's actually picking up signals as it goes along, stereo signals, so it's really doing very well. Good deal, huh? And the other good news is our signal meter is working too. Which is awesome. And I want to be very delicate about cleaning that too. I don't want to take the thing apart from the inside and then have a lot of little pieces that's impossible to get it together. So, all right, let's get some cleaner and get on it. Be right back. All right. Oh. I'll tell you guys a funny story. Years ago when I first started out and had an interest. I mean, I'm talking about 30 years ago, and I always had an interest in junk, right? You all know that. I'm like if something's on the street, I'm going to pick it up. And a local rebuilder guy in Baltimore kind of took me under his wing, and I started hanging around and watching what he did for repair work. This had to be the early 1970s and stuff. So one day he thought he would reward me, and he gave me one of these. It was like a 1960 Pioneer unit with one of these pieces of glass, and he said, "Go ahead and do me a favor and clean that up for me." Man, I took my heavy duty, 409 or whatever it was. I sprayed it on there. I shouldn't laugh. Every bit of lettering and numbering came off, and I didn't know how to tell the guy, that I mucked up, right? I didn't know how to tell him that I really screwed up, and so I just stayed there, sat in the other room for like an hour, and finally he comes in and he just looked down and he's like, "Oh, geez." The good news was back then you could actually get replacement pieces, so it wasn't catastrophic. Hey Jasmine, how are you, my sweet girl? So I'm very carefully just wiping across this piece now. We don't want any replay because now there's no getting new ones of these. Juanigo, that is it. And how is the beautiful Jasmine? Hi, Allison. How are you today? Allison Beardmore in the house. There, it's not like you're going to go order any more from a catalog. The best you're going to be able to do is maybe pick up another unit someday on eBay and then use that to cannibalize it. So I'm just being very careful to wipe that. But that's it's really coming good. Just be careful. This is really, it's so easy to scratch these. You don't want to do that. Okay, so that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. That looks really clean. Thank you, Pudding Pie. Thank you very much. So I'm going to sit that aside, lean that up over there. And the next thing I want to do is kind of clean up the front here on this and get a little bit into this area. I want to be very careful not to hit the pointer. It'll also give me a chance. You can see the filthy dirt that comes off of that. Be very careful not to hit the pointer. Look at that dirt that comes off of that. It's got to be very delicate. This is, I've seen people do restorations and then they get to the home stretch and they destroy it with the cleaning. They're just too rough. I've already gone ahead and lubricated all of these. This was one of the early, if you look at these, these were some of the earliest presets that you could do if you found a station that you liked. You could lock it in with presets here, which is a cool feature of this tuner, circa 1970. Now, this probably came from a PX because back in the Vietnam era, in the PXs over in Vietnam, they were stocked with like Japanese high fidelity and stereo equipment, Pioneer and Kenwood and all that stuff. And if you bought a unit very discounted at the PX, the government would actually ship it home for you when you were done your tour or whatever. So a lot of guys took advantage of that and bought these units. All right. Good night, pudding and pie. I hope you get that taken care of. Now I do have a Q-tip to just get down into some of the finer crevices and things. You can see the dirt that picks up on the tip of that. All right. I'm pretty happy with that. Make sure we still have the, yeah, that's so much cleaner on there. So much cleaner. Everything just gets filthy from pushing everything for 47 years, you can imagine. Let's get this all cleaned up. That beeping you hear is our garbage guy backing up. We had terrific thunderstorms here this morning, and we only have thunderstorms about once a year here. They're very rare. All right, that looks pretty good. It's all a lot cleaner. Got a little bit of dust in there. Like I said, the whole thing kind of needs a blow job to get it cleaned out. But I don't have any compressed air today to do that. But otherwise, it's I think it's pretty clean. Now, you would be surprised. You would think that these units go bad, but the Japanese at that time were putting such great quality components that very few things ever go bad. It's usually just the mechanical features that wear out on these. You know, buttons, springs. Yeah, I'm not sure where Pudding and Pie lives, to tell you the truth, Francis. Okay, so that looks pretty good. What's funky is these knobs up front. I don't think these are the original. Yep, clean those tubes. Well, I want to try to clean some of these lights off a little bit, but I want to be very careful because if you leave a fingerprint on them, then that will cause light failure, and I don't want to do that. So again, a very delicate touch is good. This turned out good. This looks great now. There's just one more little area that's a little funky down at the end. Just very lightly go over that. All this stuff, none of this stuff is just silk screened on. It's nothing. It's not etched into the glass or anything. So, okay. I'll never forget that guy's face when he came in and he saw that that I had taken all the lettering off of that. Yeah, hair dryer would be a good thing, Francis, but it's not a strong enough stream to really. So I'm going to get this repositioned back in. I don't know if you guys can see. I'm just repositioning this back into its location. It has little harnesses on each side. You can see on each side it has little bracketed harnesses that hold the unit in once you get it into position. They're like little bits of rubber there. So that still allows the pointer dial to move freely behind. Here. Just confirm that's still running good. That's still running good on there. That's very important. All right. This bulb is a little dirty over here. And this has to be positioned properly because what goes on with this, and a lot of people don't know this, if you look at the edge here, it hangs out a little from the rubber retainer because this light actually transmits into the side of this piece of plastic. So if you don't have it positioned properly, the light's not transmitting in there. Yeah, that's carrying in real good right now. I just want to turn off the all the lights for a second just to confirm that. I want to make sure that that's going in okay. The light's okay. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Hi Nathan, how are you? How much does one of these cost? I guess you could get one for about $100 on eBay. These days the tuners aren't much money. It's really the amplifiers that are the big money on here. I'm just glad to get this restored and looking good. Okay. That's good. We got good lighting in there. I'm satisfied with that. Okay. So we've got that plastic positioned properly in there again. That's a good thing. All right. All right. My other half loves watching live broadcasts. Name is Carl. Hi, Carl. Carl's restoring a radiogram at the moment. That's really cool. Let me get the lights back on. That's cool, Allison. I love doing restoration work. Last year I had to stop accepting repair jobs from people because I'm still so backed up here with repair projects. Okay, bye, Francis. Thanks for stopping by. Always a pleasure to see you. I wish you could hang longer, but it's awesome to see you. I guess I'm going to try to clean this lights. These little fuse lamps still look dirty. So I'm going to try to, this could be to my everlasting regret here. But that is awful dirty. Once I clean it, I really can't finger it anymore. Fingerprints will cause premature failure. I really don't want to put LEDs into this unit. Northang! Yeah, why do you ever have to repair when I'm at work? I hear you. Because I'm bad. I'm bad. I got that cleaned up really well. So without touching it, I'm going to try to put that in again. Yeah, I think that's going to allow a little more light. The other one looks okay on the other side. And the other bulbs look good. That looks pretty good. I got one more screw I have to put in. What's the oldest you have in your collection? I think it's the 1959. It's a Pioneer SQM 300B. That's the oldest I have, 1959. I did a restoration on that. I was so excited that I got that thing going again. Now that's valuable. A 1959 unit that can also had the upgrade to play to do stereo from mono. That's worth a few bucks, that one. So I was really excited to get that one going. I'm missing a screw right down in here, so I need to put this down there. I need to get that down there. I'm going to use my needle nose just to get that position down there. My long nose pliers to get that kind of set down there. You know, we've got to be very careful with screws and stuff that you don't drop it into the circuit board and forget about it, because you can have yourself a real situation with a short circuit. How do I know that? Because it's happened to me before. All right, now the next issue we have is this is just disgusting here. This is the burnished aluminum front piece on here, and this is absolutely filthy. And this has got to be clean. I don't know why that thing's going like that. Maybe you can see that it's got tape on the top of it. You know, some people back in the day, they used a magic marker like a Sharpie to mark their stations on the front, and they just destroyed these units. You know, kids would want to just have an indicator where the station was, and they would just destroy it. I've seen so many beautiful units that had been wrecked that way. But if you're going to buy a vintage unit, Nathan or anybody else, you want to be very careful that the cosmetics should be your most important consideration. Reason being is that a person like me, there's not many of us left that do. There's Shango 066, there's Radio TV Phono Nut. There's not many people that do repairs and restorations, but if you can find one, they can get the unit gone again. The problem is they can't make a ugly unit look good again. That's the problem. So you want to be very, don't settle for something that's, oh, it's just got a little bit of nick here and there on it and a few scratches. Don't accept it. Don't accept it, because if you want something that's going to appreciate in value, it's condition, condition, condition. A lot of times they're not even going to care if the thing works or not. If it looks good, then that's the deal. So yeah, very important, Nathan. You don't want to, and I hope you're doing okay. As I recall, you're in Toronto, so it's great seeing you. Yeah, a lot of people jump at stuff and they compromise when it comes to units, and then when they go to sell it, they understand that the real professional buyers and the people that are willing to pay the big money won't buy it. They won't even touch it because the cosmetics are lousy on it. This is another case. This is stenciled on, so you want to be very careful with a soft rag to get this cleaned up. And this, again, this is just filthy on here, just absolutely filthy. It's taken me a while to get this thing cleaned up. But I deal with this all the time. People will send, I don't even take them anymore. I used to send units, and they, can you get this thing gone? And the front was so ugly. Get it gone and send it back to them. They're like, I wanted to sell the thing and I couldn't get anything for it. Yeah, because it looked like hell. Doesn't matter how it sounds. People don't. People are buying the sizzle, not the steak. That's the deal, right? Yeah, this thing is just crazy dirty. Everything I get in here is crazy dirty. I got amplifiers out of church organs, tube amplifiers from the 1950s and 60s. I've had Wurlitzer, Leslie, Hammond. Now I'm going to go ahead and get some stuff called goof off just to get this top edge. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. This top edge is just filthy with the tape that was put on here. So that's going to take a little more. That's going to take a little more work to get that off. Where is my goof off? This stuff smells bad, but it works great for removing tape residue and all that. So put a little bit of this on. Don't pour it on the unit, or if it drips down the front, it'll take the lettering right off. Game over. Everything's got to be controlled when you're doing this work. Everything has got to be controlled. because if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. Okay, get all that residue off. That looks good. Okay, so that's all nice and clean now. Okay, Nathan says, I use that on my vintage radio controlled cars. So Nathan, are you still in, we've been on Facebook for a lot of years. Are you still in Toronto? I believe that you're one of my Canadian friends there. All right. You can see how much better that looks. That faceplate is absolutely pristine. No marks on it. No issues whatsoever. The worst you could say, it has one little microscopic ding down here, but it's almost indetectable on there. So we're going to see now. We're going to remove our knobs, and these, I don't know where these knobs came from. They may be original. I'm going to have to look something up real quick. But this is actually held in with these kind of nuts that come on the front of it. So we'll go ahead and carefully reposition this back on. It's like we have to take some washers and put it in first on there. One washer, and then we're going to put the nut on top of it. One at a time, just like that. You can see the hardware that uses on there. Looks like I'm missing one nut. Oh, there it is right there. So, okay. That's what actually holds the faceplate on down here. You can see. Okay. Looking pretty good. It's coming along. Put the other ones on here. And then we're going to have to address the issue of the knobs. So I'm not quite sure about the authenticity of these doggone knobs. I prefer to hand tighten these because sometimes people get in here with wrenches and they scratch the front of the aluminum, and this aluminum is pretty soft, right? All right, so good news for you guys. The really good news is that I have buttons coming out the wazoo here, so I think we're going to try to put a new set of knobs, not buttons, but knobs on this thing, because these things don't look original. Every time I had units that couldn't be fixed, I just would salvage what parts I could. And these things are like gold now, believe me. When people go to do restorations and they discover that the knobs they have are no good, it's not just going out and ordering new ones. They're just not out there. So we'll see if we can get a nice, kind of a nice match set on here. May not be original, but they will look good. Get a nice set for these. It will be demure, but it'll look good. It'll be keeping within Pioneers. Yeah, it's a lot of, I've got tons and tons and tons, and I could sell these for a lot individually. Like I said, I've just, everything I had, I could just pull off. Now that looks nice. Look at that stall knob right there. That is turned aluminum. Let's see if I have 3 of these. One, bigger one for the tuner one, and smaller ones for the other ones. Let's see. There's 1, there's 2. Yeah, they're going to look nice. Everything will look like a match set. And then for the tuner, we kind of want a bigger one. You always want like a little bigger one for the tuner. So that'll be a nice set. Hi, Susie. We're still going strong. That's okay, sweetie. Nice to see you. I'm in the workshop today trying to finish up another project here. So right now I'm trying to get a nice set of matched knobs for this unit. And I'm kind of going through my collection here and finding a set that'll be nice. It's not perfect on it, but these aren't expensive units. I'm not looking for total and complete authenticity on this. I'm looking to get a really nice look. Yeah, I think Francis went to take a nap, actually. Yeah, this will look really nice. Okay, let's get that cleaned up real good. These are turned aluminum. These are actually produced on a lathe. So they went to a lot of time and effort. So what we'll do compared to the ones that we're on, we'll switch it out for these. That's not even going to work. That's going to be too tight of a fit. So I'm going to have to find one that doesn't have a pointer on it because the tuners don't have pointers on it. Let's see how many of these. Most of the knobs are, believe it or not, yes, they're universal. The only thing is how did what's the finish like on them? That's the only thing. Now tuner knobs typically do not have. That's big. So maybe I'm not going to get my. Maybe I'm not going to get my first choice here for. No. May not get my first choice. Now it's just a question of scrambling around. You cannot afford to bust off one of these spindles, or then you're really in a deep do if that happens. So that's good for that. That is not. That's okay for that one. So let's see if we have 1. We got 2 for that. Let's see if we have a bigger one for center field here. It's all about compromise. Tuner knobs don't have indicators. They don't have little pointers on them. Yeah, the tuner knob is always the larger one. That's correct, Susie. And they don't have any reason to have a pointer on them. That's a pretty nice looking one for the tuner right there. That's a possibility number 1. A little bit smaller size. That's possibility number 2. I'm liking that one better. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm kind of liking that one. This one looks good too. That one's a little too tight. I don't want to bust off one of the spindles here. So this is going to do. So okay, this will be our complement here. One big tuner knob, and then the other ones will flank it on the side here. I don't see any other combination that's really going to work. Like I said, we don't want a pointer on the tuner. That's a possibility. If I just round this out a little bit, this is actually best. This is kind of a matched looking set here because all of them are knurled on the side of them. So it's a much nicer looking set. Yeah, the first set, well, I got plenty to choose from, Nathan, so it's, you know, I've got this is just what's within reach. I have tons of other knobs everywhere, but I think this is going to be the best set that we're going to have here on this. And I think it's going to look beautiful when these are all cleaned up. These things take a beating, obviously, because they get handled. Yeah, Susie, say hi to Nathan, one of my sisters from up in Toronto, for years on Facebook. All right, so let's get this tuner one on first. Nope. That is just a bit too tight. We're going to have to go back with that other one. I just do not want that to break off. This is what takes your time when you're doing rebuilding. Sorry to be so slow, guys, but this is what takes the time. Hello, Ultra Blue. I like that one there. We don't have a lot of alternatives for that. If I can enlarge that a little bit. Yeah, I think this will do. Let me get my drill here. Okay, yeah, Nathan's like, take your time. Well, yeah, this is why there's no audio rebuilders left anymore. Because you never recoup your money from this. You know, you got a unit that somebody can pick up on eBay for $100, and you're going to tell them it's going to take $300 to get it going. Well, if it's a Marantz or something like that, or maybe this Pioneer, they might go for that. But otherwise, you know, you do it because you love doing it. And you're like keeping an art alive. That's all you're doing. Is keeping an art alive. When you're enlarging, you run the drill backwards, not forward. You don't want to put it through the front. Okay, how do I know? Because I've done it. I've done it before. Okay. Now that's a bit loose, which I expect it to be. So now we take the, now we do our little cheat here. We get a little bit of tape, and we're going to wrap that now, and that'll be perfect. So. All right. Got to get just the right amount on there. There's Missy Jen. Missy Jen had her eye doctor appointment today. Her vision's better this year than last year. All right. You know what, guys? I'm still not liking the way that's sitting. You know why? Because this has to have an offset. This has to be kind of lower in the middle than the outside, because it has to cover up the nut that's on there. So when I put this one on, let me remove the tape. Luckily, most units that come in, they just need one or so knobs, and it's pretty easy to match that up. Let's remove that. Yeah. Even that doesn't even sit low enough. But I think that's going to have to do today. Unless we put a big boy on here. But see, that's way too big. You can't even read on the top of it. I'm going crazy. I go crazy. Yeah, but Jen's got good vision. Well, that's just gonna have to do. But that just looks like shit. I can't live with that. I'd rather live with that right there. And let's get the other ones on the side here. And then we'll get one more on here. What are we on right now? Let's get this on AM. That's good. There we go. All right. All right, that looks pretty good. It's not perfect. I'm not real happy. I'm gonna look around a little bit more. Some more of my goodie boxes here. Let's see. It's always the tuners. It's always the tuner knobs that are the trouble. All right, well, I think that's as good as it's going to get on that. So we'll clean them up a little bit. It's frustrating. But it looks good. It's presentable. I'm just kind of redlining here, seeing if I can make this go a bit deeper on here. Nope, so we'll just have to stick with plan B. All right, there it is. All right. Yeah, I'm drilling from the inside, but I'm not real satisfied. But in terms of just being a tuner, I'll live with this. I'll live with this set. Pioneers are a BITC. I'll live with it. It's okay. It looks good. It's functional. I even have these little things. These babies are really hard to find. Sometimes you lose these on units. Little black push buttons and stuff. I really don't want to get the shop messy again, so I'm trying to get it cleaned up. Keep it clean. Keep it clean. I thought I had some more knobs somewhere. I guess that was tubes. Well, what do you say we? What do you say? Let's see if we can find where did I put the cover? Oh boy. Where did I put the cover of this unit? I don't remember. Where did I put the cover? In a safe place, I think. Let's see if this is it. This is it. Is this it? I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it. I think that's it. Yeah. What the hell is this other cover? Yeah, I think that's it. This thing's dirty. This thing's got problems too on it. So yeah, the cover definitely needs cleaning. Yeah, if I got it, I used to do a lot more customer restorations and stuff. I did get sick of it. I got real tired of it. You know, because you could never get your money. You could never get your money unless it was a really high-end unit. You couldn't get your money. You couldn't recover your time. I mean, you got sitting over there. I got Sony. I got a Sony Quad, another Sony above. Somewhere here, I've got I don't know where my H.H. Scott around here tube unit. Yeah, just all down underneath of there, I got units. There just aren't many people that do this work anymore. Let's see if we can find the screws to put this baby back together. I love these little magnetic dishes. These things are great. Yeah, there you go, Nathan. Anything that you're, anything being restored is going to be challenging. Not sure what this is. I guess that's to allow ventilation. Hope I got the right top. Hold on a minute. I got more stuff opening around in this shop. I don't think this is it. No, this is a unit. This is the unit. Somebody spilled coffee down and shorted the whole thing out. I guess what you shouldn't do is put coffee on your rest a cup of coffee on top of your units that have ventilation holes in them, really. Is that a closet? Is that what you're asking me? No, I wasn't doing any restoration in Asia at all, Susie. Asian people wanted everything as new as could be and as expensive as could be. The concept of vintage in Asia is unknown. To Asians, they want everything as brand spanking new as can be. The latest, the greatest, the most expensive. You don't see anything old in Asia. You might see like a MG sports car or a Morgan, maybe a vintage Rolls Royce. That's about it. They really don't want anything to do with vintage stuff. What's this? This is a Bose shelf speaker here I just use in the shop. I have some gigantic speakers. Big old Zenith field coil speaker. Dun, 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 dun. Make sure we're good in the back. It's okay, it's not perfect. All right, so let's clean up the case a little bit. I think it's pretty amazing. The Indians winning 21 straight games is amazing. The Orioles went into that series with good momentum and they just got blown out of the playoff picture. I think it's phenomenal. I think they're going to, what was the Oakland A's, I think had what, 23 is the record or something? I think Oakland set the record with Billy Ball. The big brown one on the table. Oh, this one here. This is a big Kenwood Cathedral speaker here. Got that at Goodwill for like $5. Unfortunately, the dummies at Goodwill broke up the set. You know, just after this got put in, a guy just wanted one of them, and they sold him just one. You know. And it broke up the set of them. It's heartbreaking. But you can't fix stupid. So what are you gonna do? I would have paid a big premium for that. Yeah, this works great. Yeah, they work great. I think that's pretty clean now. It's not a perfect restoration, but for a tuner, I think it's pretty good. This this tuner I'm working on now, if you're asking me if it worked, this tuner unit did not work when I got it. If you look at part 1 of the repair on August 30th, you can see part 1 where we got it going. So in a couple minutes, we're going to fire it up. We are going to fire her up. These days I've learned the hard way. If you clean the shop after you're done, you don't have to worry about coming back and having a messy shop. Thank you, Keith. Let's hear how she's doing. Yeah, I don't do crappy work, but I can never recover my money on it. The important thing is it sounds good. I might have to go back inside and do a little bit of check the stereo separation and a few other things on here, but for right now, That's like very advanced. Oh, I got my 2-channel scope. I could set up my Tektronix today, but I really don't have my inputs. Yes, always. I have to laugh, Keith. I'm surprised you didn't unsub me after seeing this shirt today. I love Keith Gregory. He's great. U.S. Navy, love it. If I was going to join any branch of the service, it would be the United States Navy. Let's see. I don't have. I just don't have the right inputs for this for my scope for this unit. We could set up for single channel here. Tape. Okay, well, let's just get this thing. Let's fire her up. See what we got. Let's stop messing around. All right. I know, Keith, that's funny. I'm hooked up to, I've got 2 little bows here and over here. They're kind of what I generally use for the testing. Now, since this is a tuner, it has no amplification. Its only function is to pull signals out of the air, convert them to radio frequency, and then convert them to audio frequency, then send the signal to our 1959 1-watt little 1-watt wonder here, the True Test 5, which I love. If you look at the video, 1-watt amplifier versus Tchaikovsky, you'll get a bang out of that. It's a very popular video on YouTube. We'll be running into that and then taking the output off of the back there and running it to the speakers. There's Jasmine. So that's what we're doing today. I just want to do a little more cleanup and get a fresh cup of coffee, and we'll fire her up. So I still got this. I still got this thing I haven't even touched back here. This tube Zenith back there. I'm getting better though. The shop's definitely getting better. Pick up. I don't think we'll get any. I haven't got time to set up the signal generator. This unit's just not worth it. So. All right, just a couple minutes from kickoff. I'm just going to do a little more putting stuff away here, and then we're going to fire her up and run through the final paces. You ever do these? If you ever do computer work, these little screwdriver sets are amazing. I think next time I'm doing a shop build, I'm going to get the proper Tektronix. I got a 2-channel oscilloscope here, and we can do some work cleaning up signals and other stuff with that. Right now, I don't have the banana plug inputs, the RCA to take the output from the tuner tape output and see how clean that is and test that for and our amplifier for distortion. So let me just go get a fresh cup of coffee and I will be right back. All right, I am. All right. Hey, TR, how are you? Good to see you. Just cleaning up a little bit here. Good to see you, my friend. Happy Wednesday to you. That's pretty good. Let's see. Put that away. Yeah, it's good to see TR on. So I think we'll need our safety glasses today. Yeah, I want to get the oscilloscope set up for future to put our signal generator to feed in signals, and then we can see how clean they are and check our alignment on some of these better units like Pioneer and other stuff to make sure that they're peaked in terms of performance and stuff. So. Okay, so when we fire this up, just remember the purpose of a tuner, once again, is to acquire the AM or FM stereo. Remember, you can pick up a mono signal by just cutting off the carrier frequency of the stereo is carried on another sub frequency of the main broadcast frequency. This unit acquires that signal through the antenna, sends it through the variable capacitor, which resonates with that frequency that you want to tune in. And when that resonance reaches a certain point, it then carries through the rest of the radio set that's oscillating at a certain frequency. It then goes into the intermediate frequencies where it's converted from a radio frequency signal, and then it goes into the conversion to an audio signal at the end of it. And that audio signal, very teeny tiny little weak one, is sent to the amplifier, a separate component where that is magnified and enlarged, that sound. Thank you, TR. There's Nicole. Hey, Nicole. That's the whole purpose of what this has. It has a detector circuit and a couple conversion circuits on it. you don't really know it, you don't really realize it, but the reality is through the air there's there's radio waves all the time, and they're very tiny. The voltages are minute, but these antennas and things are able to pick up those very tiny signals, energy through the air, and do amazing things with it, right? Yeah, thank you, Nicole. Yeah, I was in August 30th. We did part 1, and then Jen wasn't crazy about me being in the workshop right after surgery. Gee, I wonder why, right? So I delayed a couple weeks to do part 2. I gotta make some better connections on the back of this amplifier. This is a tiny little 1-watt amplifier. Yeah, it's a big cup of, you think so? I think that's a big cup of coffee. Yeah, I know, Nicole. I'm nutty. I do take a lot of risks. And Jen is not happy about that, let me tell you. She is not happy about that. I got to make some better connections. Let's get this thing out of here. I'm doing good, Josh. I'm doing great. I took Missy Jen to her doctor appointment this morning, her eye doctor. She got checked out today, so her eyes are good. Actually, her vision's better than last year's, which is pretty amazing. She has excellent hearing and a lot better than I have. Excellent vision. So. I just want to do a little better connection on this this amplifier here. This is called a line-in amplifier, and these would be illegal to sell in the United States or any civilized country today because they don't use any power transformer. They send 120 volts right into the circuit, and they use a big fat resistor to reduce the voltage. Therefore, if you're not properly grounded, you become the ground if you touch it in the wrong place, and you can get a heck of a shot. So they call these the widow makers. So you got to be very careful with these. These things can be deadly. Absolutely deadly. Okay, I think we got better connections on here. So we've probably done 4 hours of restoration work over the 2 hangouts on that. So now it's time to get the show on the road. We got all of our hookups. You don't want to run your power cords over top of speaker wires. You get some bad interference there. Okay. There we go. We got our little amplifier up top. And what actually happens is that this unit is feeding out the back into the amplifier through these RCA plugs, and this is taking that small signal. This 12AX7 is a preamp detector tube. It's designed to take very tiny input signals and clean them up, modulate them a little bit, then send them into the rest of the circuit to be amplified. Left channel, right channel, these two big 35 volt tubes each here. And this is the rectifier that converts AC to DC power to run the unit. Two transformers, left speaker, right speaker, output transformers there. So you can run in a stereo or a mono mode, high frequency cutoff or low frequency cutoff. So there we go. Yeah, me and my booze, right? So we'll sit that there. We'll go ahead and cut the lights. We'll fire her up and see what we get today. You guys excited? I'm glad to be done another, as much as I'm going to do the project here. So. Basically, on August 30th, we had a unit that wasn't running at that time, so now it's theoretically running well. It's lit up well. It's cleaned up well. It's lubricated, and it should be ready to go here. So we'll start on the AM. We'll start on the AM first, and then we'll run up the FM here. I really don't want to run this power cord over the antenna, so a lot of times when you get that 60s, when you get that hum, it's because you got a power cord running next to your speaker wires. So. Okay. That's good right there. All right, that looks good. All right. Okay. So first thing we'll do, we'll get our amplifier warmed up here. Should probably sit this a little higher for a little better view on it. There we go there. So once again, out of the tuner, into the amplifier, into the speakers there. So let's go ahead and put some fire in the hole here. I think we've got our, yeah. Well, this is the amplifier. Yeah, this is extremely dangerous. It has no power transformer on it. It just takes right out of the plug where you plug it in. The two positive and negative are going right into the side of the unit here. They're just coming in. That's just coming in hot right there. And that 120 is running around that. You could potentially touch it if you're not careful touching the chassis of the amplifier. So, not a good thing. Give me a second. I need to get this set up outside here. One more second here, guys. Let everything warm up real good there. I have to say, on appearance-wise, it looks pretty good, all lit up. Got our amplifiers all set up. We'll just tune up and see.
But you'll never hear this reputation on any news channel because they don't have my background.
Michael Savage.
I'll say it to you again.
Savage
Let's
Nation.
not forget misogyny, which is endemic to our society, which explains why she lost. In her chapter, being a woman in politics. Well, let's talk about some other women in politics and the most sexist.
Yeah, so far so good. We're just on the AM circuit right now.
Strong, I have hope, and I think it's important that folks keep hearing from the.
There's a report of a brush fire off to the right-hand side. Only other issue is getting out of San Francisco with road work on the lower deck. Traffic is down to 4 lanes and traffic's backed up on the northbound 101 from Vermont Street, but sluggish from Cesar Chavez. At the other end into San Francisco, you'll find the metering lights all green at the Bay Bridge.
With Bay Alarm, you're protected 24/7 by the local security experts. Call 1-800-610-1000 or go to bayalarm.com for your free.
Give back to those in need. And for the month of September, Uber will donate $50 for every vehicle sold to help the recovery process in Texas. Stevens Creek Subaru, always number one destination for your next vehicle purchase. This month, with your help, together we can make a big difference for an important cause. So visit us at our easy-to-get-to location on Stevens Creek in San Jose, right next to Santana Road, or at StevensCreekSubaru.com and help us.
The retail prices. They have excess inventory right now on bikes and strength equipment. So if you mention my name, Ethan Behrman, you'll get an extra 10% off their already unbelievable prices.
This was KCBS.
For the northbound ride coming up from almost Whipple, but solidly backed up to Industrial. A pound, amazing. This is the time. Give them a call, 833-GYM
This
Stuff.
is what you
Browse
really
the website,
pay
see what
for,
inventory they have.
Pioneer detection
FitnessWarehouseDirect.com. Mention me. Get an extra 10% off their.
White supremacy, holding a sign reading Thomas Jefferson is a racist and a rapist. Meanwhile, the crowd chanted, "No Trump."
Conversation with Brett McGonigal of Capital Link International on pin markets in Asia. Bloomberg Daybreak
Radio
this afternoon at 3 on Bloomberg 960 and 103.7 FM HD2, the Bloomberg Radio Plus app, and BloombergRadio.com. In the city, they had to sign Breno Giacomini because.
833-852-4866. This is the Tom Shalhoub Show.
The Joe Pags Show. Marshawn Lynch, who quit the NFL, I guess, to get away from Seattle, and then joined the NFL again to play
This
for
is our local KSRO.
He
decided he would sit down.
1350
I did too. After Jim Brown had that conversation with Browns, I thought that.
We have our Mexican stations here, Mexican music. We have a significant Mexican population here in Santa Rosa. Very big contributors to the economy here. Okay, so what do you say we cut over to FM now? And we'll be keeping an eye over here. We have to change, I got to change the antenna now. Okay, so let's try running up the FM dial now and see what we get. See what we get there. Now this is going to sound really clean.
Tree. There was a fanfare blowing to this song that was floating on the breeze.
Really good signal separation here.
Look at Mother Nature on the rock.
Hola, todos para detalles de la limpieza y sobre cómo participar.
It is the right opportunity to communicate.
Diferente.
When I say
See all these preset buttons over here.
WinSheriff.org/join.
Really clean. Should be able to pick that up in stereo.
when I see your que me perdonara. Pensaba que tú solamente eras para mí. Tengo tu foto para volverme loco. Pensando en ti.
Helping our neighbors. Reach out and love your fellow man. The measure of who you are is not what you think, it's what you do.
Mom's Journal Post Pacifica entry May 2017. Life is good in our Chrysler Pacifica, the most technologically advanced minivan in its class.
I gotta figure out why the stereo.
Ford in the back seat. Billy gave Amber a wet willy. Post Pacifica entry June 2017. It's raining. Thanks to our available Uconnect theater, the kids couldn't care less. Pre-Pacifica entry June 2015. Amber's tablet died on the way to the beach. Hysterical screaming ensued.
The all-new Chrysler Pacifica, highest ranked minivan and initial quality by J.D. Power. Get yours at the Chrysler Summer Clearance Event. Get 0%.
Oh, it's got the AFC light comes on over here for automatic frequency control.
Cool vocals. Dean Gretsch right there. A little help from Eric Marienthal.
And I come on star. Running down to the riptide, taken away to the dark side. I want to see your
Limited name.
You want to make a hire fast, and this exclusive offer gives you a head start. Independent research shows 6 times more hires are delivered through Indeed than any other job site, making Indeed your one-stop source for hiring. To redeem this offer, go to Indeed.com/offer. That's Indeed.com/offer. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
How do I get full custody of my kids?
Have a legal question? Go to the Sonoma County Legal Line at SonomaCountyLegalLine.com and get an answer. It's free and it's confidential.
I just got
Y aceptan la mayoría de seguros dentales, incluyendo
I'm not crazy about classical music, but it's a great way to test audio systems because you have a lot of space between notes and things and passages, and you can really tell how clean it is.
My baby's coming home tomorrow. Ain't that good news? Man, ain't that news? Good news. Good news. I want you as you are, not as you ought to be.
I tell you guys, I still don't understand all this controls. I don't even have an owner's manual on this thing. That's Pioneer.
And it goes like this. Talking, I know you. Just make sure you're talking now, so you want the move like Jagger. I got the move like Jagger. I got the move like Jagger.
Okay, TR, thank you. Good to see you. Hey, Paul.
What you made me do? What you made me do?
How clean that is.
What you just made me do? What you just made me do?
Yeah, thank you, Paul.
There's like some kind of brain room at Media Matters and their partners, and they just work constantly.
Only one love if it's
Man, that sounds so good right there.
Didn't say I didn't wanna. Always only one love if it's torture. Don't say I did, say I did.
No, Paul, this is the one I'm sending you, Paul. The big Magna box. We come to Vegas in December. I'm putting this on the back of Bobby's truck right there.
Hey, this is Taylor Swift.
You see, it comes back to people's money. The North Bay area is a perfect market for my system.
Man, it's
and
just
next
so
week,
clean.
I'm holding a free 2-hour educational workshop where you will learn how to make money flipping homes and how to build long-term wealth.
Buenas tardes. Ahora sí nos vamos con la oportunidad de que te lleves ese par de boletos para el concierto de Mark Anthony que estará presentándose en el SAP Center de San José el día viernes 6 de octubre.
Oh yeah.
On a little song. But then who can blame it? Well, the way may not be here tomorrow.
Jason
Well, I'll tell you, I think we've accomplished our mission today. And that restoration is about as complete as I think it's going to be. On here, the Pioneer, the 1970 Pioneer TX-700 tuner. I'm very happy with the way that all turned out. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to hang out a while. Paul, that console is beautiful. It's a what can I tell you? It's a Magnavox and Motorola. They were like and Curtis Mathis. They were like the gold standard of consoles and stuff. That baby's a dream. It's in good shape. All the speakers are good. You know, you want to say the little old lady that used to run it at home to listen to Montavani or something like that. It's a nice unit there. It's a nice unit, but it's been a fun restoration. My only regret is I really don't have a good tuner knob for this. I'm just kind of making do with this. Looks like it's off of an old Sansui or something like that, but it does okay. So, you know, we've had a fun time today. Another one for another restoration under the belt. I'm not sure what we're going to do next. We might get on to the Zenith, the Magnavox console back there and get that thing going. That could be a lot of fun, getting that going. So. Yeah, they're really nice units. The Magnavoxes are great. The record players, all that. It's real Madmen. Real early 60s stuff. Perfect for Vegas. Paul, if you're still here, have you ever been to the Golden Steer in Vegas? One of my friends, Monica, they had their her husband's 50th birthday. They went to the Golden Steer. It's supposed to be a big hangout place for Sinatra and the Rat Packers. All right, guys. Well, I think everybody's probably all talked out and watched out in terms of this hangout. Yeah, the Golden Steer, that's an old place, Paul. It's supposed to be, I don't know where it is. It's kind of like downtown or something like that. I'm thinking about going there when I come down in December just to check it out. They have like aged meats and stuff like that. It's supposed to be like the last of the real old school since they closed down Andre's there, which I never thought they would close down. You know, if Andre's was still open, if they could have just survived another year, downtown is so hopping now that they would do great. They would do great down there, in my opinion. Yeah, the Golden Steer. That's the name of it. That's it. All right. Yeah, I might fire up a general hangout later. I'm not sure, but I want to thank everybody for being along. Today completes another restoration part 2. Part 1 is August 30th. And thanks again for being along, everybody. And I will see you in the chat and on the regular Saturday night hangout. Always fun to be with you guys. So have yourselves a wonderful one. Yeah, Bob Taylor's Steakhouse is better. I'll have to look that up, Paul. But anyway, I will see you guys around. Thanks so much for being on another restoration project here. And see you in the chats. Thumbs up are appreciated.